And it looks like these roaches are poised to attack if they want to. Infestors are now on the way as well for our Zerg player, but they won't be quite as effective as if our Terran player was going M&M. That's actually very nice. He's going to be destroying those rocks as soon as the Terran command center reaches there, so very nice timing. These roaches might not even know that the command center is there, but it looks like they will be sneaking around. Will they be able to get into the main or a mineral line and do a ton of damage? One tank just getting completely annihilated, another one as well, as this is a critical mass of roaches able to get loose inside the natural expansion of our Terran player. Looks like Thors are trying to repel them, as this is such a sexy Thor. The Collector's Edition version, always love to see that model because it is so very cool to see Thors decked out like those Thors are. This third expansion for our Zerg player is just now starting to get populated. He's kind of just using this for gas right now, as gas is the most limiting resource for our Zerg player here at this stage of the game. Going to be diverting a roach here to the watchtower, but it will be killed so quickly as it had no chance. Going up against equal parts Hellions, Thors, and Vikings, although I suppose the Vikings didn't really do anything. As now the roaches come back for revenge, do manage to take out a couple of Hellions. Looks like that's an SCV there, really scared for his life. And now the Thors have, it looks like, one weapon upgrade, but nothing quite yet for their armor, while the roaches have one attack upgrade and two Carapace level upgrades. So the Zerg player is definitely winning in terms of upgrades right now with two full groups of roaches. Looks like that's about 8 plus 7, 15 there, and it looks like 15 about at the watchtower as well. As now I gotta put myself on busy, but I don't have time to as we're watching a battle, as roaches are going to be attacking these SCVs. I'm sorry, Tor Sinister, you are interrupting a cast. I'm gonna have to figure out how to do this. Oh my goodness, so many things to do at once. Gotta make myself busy. I'm sorry about that, folks. I just completely got distracted, as now we are going to see the Zerg forces pull back. They did do a little bit of damage on those workers. Up to 6 workers killed now for our Zerg player. Looks like these Hellions are still just swarming around. The 4th base is going up for Destiny. Ninja expansion sort of going up at the about 9 o'clock expansion. These Hellions continuing to be outmatched by roaches, as Destiny is showing very nice game sense, putting his roaches where the Hellions will be so he can get a couple of shots off and just kind of whittle down the number of Hellions that are on the field, as both these players are very close to maxed out. 181 for Destiny and 188 for our Terran player. Taking a look at the APM tab, and here comes a pretty large engagement as an Overlord gets sniped, and now a bunch of roaches just getting exploded all up in their face, but they do manage to take a couple of units with them on the way. Infestors are on the field, so they will be able to use their abilities. We might see some neural parasites on Thors. That is always a very good play. I can't tell if they have that upgraded research quite yet, as they are burrowed in the ground, but we'll have to wait and see if he's able to do so. Looks like he's going to spawn a couple of infested Terrans, actually forcing some serious splash damage on a couple of the Terran units. That infestor scan going off, that's a pretty good trade-off for Destiny, forcing that scan and trade-off against only one infestor. Continuing to churn out Thors and Hellions is our Terran player, while the Zerg player is getting his Spire online. Meanwhile, just continuing to make infestors is Destiny. Looks like he is going to be getting a couple of infestors spotted by a scan, but he will be able to delay the forces enough with some infested Terrans, as now the Hellions trying to spearhead this assault. That might not be a great idea, but tanks are able to bombard this extractor from afar. So that extractor's days are numbered if he decides to scan once again. This infestor is deciding to be a huge Rambo and will force a lot of splash damage once again. So Destiny is making some great use of splash damage, making friendly fire not so friendly for our Terran player. As now these infestors don't quite yet have neural parasite. I was kind of interested about that a little bit earlier, but they don't have that quite yet. He'll probably research that in the future if he's going to have that up his sleeve. And now a bunch of roaches are going to be burrowed right under this Terran army. Are they going to unburrow? This is so very tense. As now that hatchery does go down, drones are forced to evacuate. Infestors are just popping, but now the roaches have unburrowed and started just annihilating the Terran army. Will they be able to take out all of these? It looks like those Thors are going to both fall. These Vikings flying overhead, deciding it's not worth it to land because they don't want to die quite yet. This used to be 4th expansion, now going to be technically the 3rd base for our Zerg player. Is pretty nicely saturated. So our Zerg player is still on 3 bases, while our Terran player is kind of on 2/3.5, it looks like, with that gold expansion still nicely operational. Is he going to be moving this command center out? Yes, he is going to be taking this blue expansion down here. There is a roach in the way, but that isn't too much of a problem if our Terran player is able to move his forces down and take care of that one roach problem. 3 Hellions still not able to take down that one roach. They do discover the expansion, though, so they will be able to phone back home and tell the Terran that he needs to take care of that before he allows the Zerg to get out of hand. These roaches deciding to make a final stand, but they are going to be completely annihilated. Actually, only one dies as this second Roach is able to survive and scoot on out of there with 48 hit points in the face of right around half a dozen tanks, a couple of Thors, some Vikings overhead, and right around 10 or so Hellions. So that was a very brave pair of Roaches, and one managed to live to tell the tale. The Zerg player is all over the bottom half of this map right now with his forces just streaming one way and another. Not quite, great creep spread right now, but of course more pressing matters as there are Hellions and Thors knocking on the front door of this third base right now for Destiny. He is getting a hatchery up once again at that bottom right expansion. A scan going off just to make sure nothing's burrowed and waiting for our Terran player. As now these drones all single file line. How many drones was that? It was quite a few, as now there are 40 workers killed for our Terran player. So this expansion has been effectively neutralized. There are still spine crawlers, so it really wouldn't be cost effective for our Terran player to try to take this out, but it looks like he's going to be trying it with a couple of Hellions, and they pay the ultimate price with their lives. 14 Roaches being made by Destiny, so he will have his forces remustered up. It looks like he was just clearing some supply with those drones, as I was wondering why he decided to single file sack drones into just a complete firing squad of Hellions. As now the Hellions have swung back around to this base down here. These drones are burrowed. Will he scan? No, he will not. Not realizing the drones are burrowed right there. These drones burrowing, but obviously the Terran player knows that and will scan and start roasting some drones underground. Look at these bonfires that Hellions are lighting. They're just having a grand old time going camping right now inside the natural expansion of our Zerg player. Still so many workers killed, 59 now for our Terran player, losing a lot of Hellions in the process, but taking out a lot of drones as well, as the resources loss tab is just inflating, folks. It is 13,000 for our Zerg player, and almost 12,000 now is 12,000 for our Terran player. So these players going through a very, very, very tiring war of attrition as we are approaching the 24-minute mark. This expansion is going to be completely nuked, not literally nuked, but just figuratively with drones, well, not with drones, with Thors and tanks bombing it from the low ground. So that isn't serious trouble, but here comes the Jaws theme song as Roaches are going to be burrowing right under. It looks like Maker going with some BM, telling Destiny to leave noob. But look out, Maker, as Destiny has a whole bunch of Roaches unburrowing. You can't leave! You can't leave! All of those tanks dying in one fell swoop. Infestors fungal growthing these Vikings as all of those Thors get taken out. And now these Vikings trying to leave, trying to make it out of there with their lives. 3 of them do get fungled one more time, and they are taken down to the red. As the Terran player is trying to remacro up his army. But pressing matters at his 4th base, as it is completely gone now with this 3 full tabs of Roaches. Looks like it's only 2 tabs now, going to be completely taking out everything in their way there. The command center luckily is able to lift off, and Roaches cannot attack air. How many upgrades does Destiny have? He looks like 2 and 2 on his Roaches, while the Terran player does have still just the 1 weapons for his mech play. So he does need to work on his upgrades, but just as I say that, he is going to be getting weapons level 2. That's about halfway done right now. Destiny is taking his own gold expansion, so he will have quite a very large income once he's able to get this up and running if he's able to defend it. I'm kind of curious. Destiny has a whole 27 harvesters compared to the 71 SCVs, but the difference right now in the incomes tab is not actually that big, comparing 50 harvesters to only about 200 minerals, because it looks like the SCVs are very, very oversaturated here at this gold expansion, and they're probably, well, they're not just oversaturated, they're completely idle here at the natural expansion. So our Terran player is getting a little starved of resources, as once Destiny is able to get this gold expansion up and running, he will have resources galore. And here comes another major battle here in the middle. Roaches burrowed once again. When will he unburrow? And now they are right under the Terran player's forces, picking out an Overlord, and here comes the Zerg assault. Destiny returning the BM in kind. This is why I love Root Destiny so very much. In the time it took me to praise Destiny, that entire Terran force is now completely gone. And if you guys, turn your heads to the left, there are no Terran forces. To your right, there are no Terran forces. There are still 3 Vikings flying overhead. I don't think Maker has done a single thing with those Vikings. I'm really not sure what he wanted to do with those. And Maker is saying that Destiny is lucky, but hey, I mean, whatever Maker wants to say at this point, really, the truth is that he has been completely outplayed by some seriously, seriously sexy burrow play, and Maker decides to rage quits. Of course, he gets the last word there, insulting Destiny, and then leaving the game without a GG, but if anyone ever deserved a WP well played, it would be Destiny in this game. unburrowing forces right under that Terran army, completely annihilating it in a matter of milliseconds. So very, very well done, Destiny, this game. I know you guys enjoyed that game, and I will see you guys in the third game I'm going to be casting of Destiny. So let's go right to that.